What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Now, in our first episode, we talked about ECW's first ever pay-per-view, Barely Legal, and what a monumental moment that was in the history of that company. Now, I alluded to this video's topic in that entry, and I believe it is time we talk about, in my opinion, one of the greatest feuds in the history of ECW, involving two men that could easily be on any Mount Rushmore involving ECW. I, of course, am talking about the suicidal, homicidal, genocidal maniac Sabu and the human suplex machine Taz. Let's hop in the Wayback Machine, shall we? I'm HuskyRhodes. Welcome to Wrecking Crew Retrospective. Let's get it. Now, these two started their feud before ECW became Extreme. In 1993, October of 1993 to be exact, for NWA Eastern Championship Wrestling, Taz and Sabu had their first match. Now, it's not the Taz and Sabu that we know. Taz was the Tasmaniac at this point. It was the early 90s. That gimmick's a little suspect. But the match itself was so good, Paul Heyman was like, I could do some work with these two. And he actually ends up putting the ECW World Tag Team Champions on them. Now, things kind of go awry here. Because Sabu effectively ditches ECW. He's scheduled to wrestle in a three-way dance at an ECW show, in the main event of the show. And he decides, even though he allegedly promised Paul Heyman that he would be at this show, he took a New Japan booking instead. And this not only pisses off Paul Heyman, this pisses off Taz too. So, the night of that show, a very pissed off Taz and a very pissed off Paul Heyman come down to the ring, and Paul Heyman cuts a scathing promo about how Taz screwed over the fans, he screwed over Paul, he screwed over Taz, screwed over the entire locker room by ditching ECW to take this New Japan booking, and effectively fires Sabu in the middle of the ring. Now, during this time, Sabu does some Japan runs. He has a cup of coffee in WCW. And at November to Remember 1995, Sabu is brought back into ECW with open arms by Paul Heyman. Now, Taz, being the miserable prick that he was heated about this. For basically an entire year, Taz is on a manhunt. He's beating up everyone in his way. He's calling out Sabu. He's choking people out while calling them Sabu. It's brutal. He just wants nothing more than to get his hands on one of his greatest rivals. And in November to Remember 1996, 1 year after Sabu is rehired, Taz comes to the ring while Two Cold Scorpio's in the ring. Taz comes out, cuts a scathing promo on Two Cold Scorpio, and effectively kicks him out of ECW. Well, that's because he was going up to be Flash Funk. So after Two Cold Scorpio leaves, Bob Ortiz, the ring announcer, goes to leave, and Taz goes, no, you're staying here, and effectively holds the man hostage. He's like, I'm taking the show over. No, you're not leaving until Sabu comes out here and I get my hands on him. Well, being as this is holding up the show, who better than the owner of the company, Todd Gordon, to come out? Effectively to try and talk some sense into Taz. Well, he gets attacked by Bill Alfonso. Fonzie attacks Todd Gordon. Paul Heyman's out there. He takes a Tazplex from Taz. Starts to choke out Todd Gordon. Lights go out. Now the crowd's starting to rumble. This can only mean one thing. The lights kick back on, and for the first time in over a year, Taz and Sabu are face to face in a ring. The ECW arena is trying to keep it together. The roof is exploding on this place. Because not only have these two been wanting to get at it for a while, the fans are eating this up. They're circling around the ring. Sabu's doing the iconic pose. They run towards each other, and the lights cut out again. The best cliffhanger in wrestling. You cannot write anything better than that, in my opinion. So they go back and forth cutting promos. Well, mainly Taz cutting promos. Sabu doesn't talk. And this leads up to Barely Legal, where Taz, after an epic battle, gets Sabu to tap out. They wrestle again at WrestlePalooza 97. This time, Sabu actually comes out on top by reversing the Kata Hajime. Taz has it locked in. He does the old Bret Hart Stone Cold finish, runs up the corner, kicks back, rolls over, and pins Taz's shoulders to the ground. They go about their separate ways for a while, and in late 98, they start stirring the pot up a little bit, start bringing the feud back. And then at Guilty as Charged 1999, during a match between Shane Douglas and Taz, Sabu comes out and attacks both men, which this would lead to their Living Dangerously 1999 match. Kids, I have homework for you. Go watch this match. It is nuts. Taz gets kicked out of the ring. Sabu does an air Sabu, only to get a chair to the face. Like, these two just beat the emergency brakes off of each other. Sabu takes a Tazplex through a table. He ends up locking in the Taz mission. Sabu does not tap out. He passes out, awarding Taz the victory. They have one final match on October 29th, 1999 on a regular ECW TNN show. And again, just like every other match that these two have, they beat the hell out of each other. This time, Sabu comes out on top with an Arabian facebuster through a table for the win. Taz and Sabu. These two, at that time, I could watch them wrestle nonstop. I still go back and I watch their stuff because these two embodied ECW with the extremity of the matches, the attitude. They are what ECW represents. I hope that you all go back and watch these and enjoy them as much as I do. But until then, kids, I'm HuskyRhodes. Be good or be good at it.